Well, good morning, everybody. As we start off today, one of the big things we're going to watch today is the system that is pulled out of it was yesterday over California, and it's already making its way by midday today almost to Lake Superior. There is a very, very sharp cold front that's on the back side of this, right in through here. And we're going to have very strong winds coming off of the Rockies with warm air advection out ahead of this coming around this big high pressure cell. This is going to create a very windy situation throughout the plains and Midwest, very cold air coming in behind this throughout parts of the northern plains. And again, this system was able to cross the country in under 40 hours. We do have another low that's just off the coast. We're going to watch slide south into California here. But I think what will be most fascinating to watch over the next 24 hours is this map. It's one of my favorites. It's from Penn State University. It's their 24-hour temperature change map. And already you can see how much warmer things have been just compared to yesterday at this time due to all that warm air advection coming up out of the south. But this cold front is for real, and some of the temperatures in Montana have already dropped in places between 15 and 35 degrees, and that cold air is coming south very quickly. I want to show it to you by just showing you the latest high-res NAM model. We looked at this in last night's in-depth report, but 8 o'clock this morning, watch Kansas. I'm keeping a close eye on Kansas because the temperatures there today could get into the 70s by 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock this afternoon. But look at where the front already is by that point. There's a very sharp change in the temperatures such that by tonight into tomorrow morning, I'll just kind of park this maybe at 5 or 6 a.m. on Saturday. We could have temperatures here that have dropped from the 70s maybe into the teens. We could get some pretty cold air here. And that front just continues to advance east. So again, this is going to be a great map to watch over the next 24 hours to see how much the temperature changes in these areas. Now, as we saw, the winds are going to be very strong, and that is why we have high wind advisories and high wind warnings across a lot of the country, including wind chill warnings in parts of Montana. Just going through 6 a.m. on Saturday, we can see this broad area in here with this 30 to 50 mile an hour wind potential. So be prepared for some extremely strong winds, synoptic scale winds out of this system. That's really reflected well in our all hazards weather map. Again, we've got wind chill advisories here. We still have winter storm warnings throughout the Rockies. There is a winter storm watch that is now in place here in the Klamath Mountains getting into the Sierra Nevada. And there's 16 states this morning that have some sort of a wind warning or wind advisory, but the area that I'm going to watch carefully throughout the day is right in through here. We know this area has been exceptionally dry, and we can see that they've put out a red flag warning for that area for the risk of wildfire. So let's go have a look at it on the high-res NAM model. We're going to start off at 8 o'clock this morning. And as we play this forward, we're going to watch some light snow spread through parts of the northern plains into the upper Midwest. And again, very strong winds accompanying some of the snow here as well, but a major drop in temperature behind this. There will be some scattered rain out ahead of this. You can see the models are kind of picking up on some of that, but the rain really begins to pick up as we get into the overnight hours tonight into tomorrow morning along the spine of the Appalachian Mountains back through the Tennessee Valley. You can also see where that next low has moved down into California, again delivering rain initially in the Sacramento Valley, then kind of getting into the San Joaquin Valley and adding some more snow to the Sierra Nevada. Now this low in the east, let's keep an eye on this one, continues to push some rain through Pennsylvania, New York, getting over here to the mid-Atlantic, but the front really kind of fizzles out over the southeast, and they kind of miss out on some of the rainfall from this. Now, once we get through Saturday into Sunday, you see this large high-pressure cell here? In the upper levels of the atmosphere, there's a high-pressure cell here. We call that just a subtropical ridge. And around it, we're going to see some moisture coming out of parts of Arizona into New Mexico, maybe getting into the panhandles as well. But all the while, there's still a low spinning off the coast of California. Look, I'll just go back and forth. You keep your eye over here. And through Saturday into Sunday, that low is kind of stalled out there and just continues to deliver more moisture that could get into Oregon, could get into Idaho. I'll show you those snowfall totals in just a moment here. But if I had to put together a big picture map for you, I've been showing these all week. I like this. On the left, this is where we're going to look for where things are going to be wet. On the right, this is where it's going to be dry. So you can see that the chance of getting at least an inch of liquid equivalent, so some of that's going to be snow here in the west, is very high, especially in the Sierra Nevada, a couple places throughout the Rocky Mountains. But stalled out frontal boundaries combined with open Gulf moisture really going to hit the Tennessee Valley back through the mid-south with some very heavy rainfall. Then over here on the left, you see our drought areas continuing to show problems. For example, this section of the plains, this is the chance of getting less than 1/10 of an inch. That also now extends into parts of the southern Canadian prairie out of Alberta and Saskatchewan. We're still drier in Florida and also down here in Southern California in the southwest. So yesterday's new drought monitor just continues to show us how dry things are in a few of those areas, and it appears that some of the new long-range data we received are going to kind of continue to push that going forward. What I'm waiting on is to see some sense of a subtropical component of the jet develop. I think it's going to be a long time coming, but that could start to draw moisture back into this area and get the storm systems to kind of, well, just deliver snow this winter into the plains, which is where it is desperately needed to help relieve some of the drought issues. But as it stands, this is how things are shaping up with the new high-res European model. So we've already looked out through Sunday, so I'm just going to get us there. That's Saturday, getting into Sunday. Let's pick this up noon on Sunday. Here's that low, just stalled off the coast. You see the lingering frontal boundary left right in through here. And as we go through the weekend into Monday, this is where we open things back up as a big Arctic high comes down. We're going to kind of sandwich a front in through this area, delivering some more of that rainfall. Now, this is also where the rainfall is likely going to be into Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. See that? That frontal boundary just doesn't leave this area. So what you end up getting out of this is flow around one high like this, flow around this high like that, and there's frontogenesis in between. And that's why we're going to see a lot of that rainfall in this particular area. So we just keep playing this out about a week, and that just is the case. We're just putting that there. Notice that storm systems tend to come out of the Pacific Northwest from the Gulf of Alaska. They're not coming straight from the west. And in today's report, we talk about why that is and just kind of give a better explanation of it as to why the jets retracted and not continuing to make that push forward. But if we looked at some snowfall totals, basically we have one system coming through here today. Snowfall amounts are relatively light out of this system. But across the west, take a look at this. We just keep adding up the snow we're expecting over just the next 5 days alone. Let's take it out there to 5 days. There you go. We could be seeing here up to 2 to 3 feet of snow at the highest peaks of the Sierra Nevada, and this does get into the interior of the west as well. So still some good early season snowpack. But again, next week, total precip, the main focus area is going to be right in through here. A little bit in the northeast. We've got the system coming down the west, but that area right in through has the highest probability of staying quite wet. Now, these temperatures are really going to fluctuate. So brutally cold air in Montana today, hot in Kansas. That all shifts east pretty quickly on Saturday. The warmest air stays east. Getting into Sunday, we're going to watch a rebound in the midsection of the country in Sunday to Monday. This is out ahead of the next system, so that stalled out boundary will be here. And then you're going to see that by Tuesday, it kind of, well, I guess it wasn't stalled the other day, but it's going to move its way down toward the mid-south, and that's where the next round of very cold air leaves the Canadian prairie and comes into the northwest. A lot of single-digit highs there. And that cold air stays locked in this region for a while. The newest long-range data, here it is. This is that 5-day sliding window graphic I like to show you. We're now playing through the end of the first week of December. We're now getting through the middle of the second week of December. I'll park this out here at the end of the second week of December. Now you can see the only stronghold for some warmer conditions is along the Gulf Coast. Got a big protective subtropical ridge there. But even that fades as we get toward the middle of the month. And this is where we're really going to start to have to pay close attention to two things. How long this big Greenland block lasts, because right now it's out there all the way to the middle of the month. And because of that, you're going to see the forecast showing up drier across the central United States. We need to watch to see if systems start to get kind of cranked up along the East Coast. No model's really showing that just yet, but it's always a possibility when you have this big Greenland block. It's called the North Atlantic Oscillation, at least it's negative phase. The Pacific jet is weaker. See how we got high pressure over low? That's not it. That doesn't extend a strong jet here. So systems, if they come into the northwest, will come from the Gulf of Alaska, not Hawaii. The strongest winds are here. And this is where one piece of the polar vortex sits and another piece will sit right here. It is disturbed and it has shifted. So we flip this over to a map on winds, and now you see the jet is retracted. It's not making its way into the Gulf of Alaska. It kind of picks up its momentum here. Here's that big ridge into Greenland, but it carries that momentum across to Europe. And that's where some of the new long-range data, which we talk about in today's report, are quite important, because this is what the December average temperature anomalies look like from the newest run of the ECMWF for both the United States and Europe. We see greater risk of being colder across both regions for the month of December and possibly beyond. Okay, just want to reiterate some of the stuff in last night's video on the long range with South America, where we've seen some of the drier conditions over the last 15 days, basically southern Mato Grosso, eastern Mato Grosso do Sul, eastern Paraná, and parts of Rio Grande do Sul. Notice that same area, while there is a lot of soybeans grown there, it is not And for example, right here in Mato Grosso, that's not the most productive region. So that's why we really haven't seen a lot of pullback in, I think, the estimates of how big this crop is going to be. And going forward, the models want to return better moisture there. You can almost see this very hard edge on where the models are predicting the drier weather to the west of that arrow. But that includes Paraguay and a big section of Argentina, which has been dealing with extensive drought this spring. It looks like it's going to continue to be a problem there because the temperatures are also expected to crank up 5 to 8, maybe 10 degrees Celsius above normal over the next 10 days. It's going to crank up the evaporation rates and really continue to dry things out. So that's going to be a major story for Argentina's total production. So I'm going to watch all of this over the weekend, and if anything starts to shift around a bit, we're going to have a discussion about it. Get brand new long-range data on the 5th of December. I'm excited to see that because in today's report, I have a special section on La Nina and what I'm currently seeing with it. So take a look, and we'll talk to you again on Monday. Appreciate your patience this week with my extensive travel schedule. I'm glad to be home and see my kids and family, and we'll talk soon. Thanks.